Welcome to the Gray People Podcast, episode 16.
Welcome to the Gray People Podcast, where topics that people expect to be black and white are discussed by going into the gray areas. And now, your trio of hosts, Sebastian Zuniga, Reina Rivera, and Randy Felice.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Great People Podcast. This is episode 16. Today's a very special episode. We got a guest, Jennifer. Say hi.
Hi.
So today, just heads up, Sebastian is not going to be with us. He's actually dealing with some family stuff, so he's not around right now. So
it's a good time, though. It's nothing crazy. Sorry.
But they don't want to make it sound super crazy, but just heads up, it's not that he just didn't want to be on the episode.
You got me scared for a second.
He's about to be a father.
I swear I knew what happened.
No, but anyways, so today we'll be talking about co-parenting. What is it like, raising a child when maybe you're not with your partner anymore, or even maybe if any of us grew up with stepfathers and things like that. Step parents, and that way we can talk about what that's like, having different, both parents kind of, but not being together. So, we brought in Jenny for this episode. Jenny kind of has dealt a little bit with that, Yeah. All right. So, should we start with some questions? We'll start with some questions, and then just kind of get the conversation going so we can talk about.
Do you have them written down or
No.
notes?
No, just off the top of my head.
Oh,
so I just kind of wonder, right? I think for a lot of us that maybe don't have kids, we think about, if I have kids, then, splitting up and not having, the dad in the picture or the mom in the picture and all these things. It's kind of like this crazy, crazy idea, right? But at some point, that's what happened, right? You decided, you know what, I got to take care of my kid and I don't need you around, or I don't know. How does that, how is that, making that decision to say, okay, you're going to be my kid's life, but maybe not to the extent of
But not in my life.
Yeah, not in my life, but you're going to be baby daddy now.
Oh man, that's hard. I don't know when, obviously, hello, my name is Jenny. I have a child. I have a 3-year-old son, and I am 23. So I had him when I was 19. So, right? Yeah. That's her.
Wait, my math could be 20. Off, but you said 20,
I had him when I was 19,
but she was 19 when you had it. So you can
turning 20 when she had him.
So you conceived him.
Yeah. So he was born in December. I'm April. So he was born, and then 4 months later I turned 20.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I was young. I think I was young. I don't know. I think I was pretty young.
It's a good age. Could have been worse.
That's true. It could have been
Everything
worse.
could be worse.
No, yeah. So I feel like, obviously, from the get-go, everything was good. But then once things got bad, I feel like it's when you're like, no, I can't raise a child in this situation. That's when you see that, and when you know that, that's when it's like, okay, time to dip out. It's just not gonna work. With many factors that happened, maybe him not being around. A lot of it was while I was pregnant. He wasn't around too much. Well, he was around, but he would leave a lot, right? So that was step one. I was like, okay, he's not what I was hoping for. Would be you would think a man or your significant other would be around and want to, be pregnant with you in a sense. I guess I don't know how you.
Was you married or no?
No, I wasn't married. We were just together.
Just together.
Yeah.
Right.
So with that, I was like, okay, maybe he's just scared, or maybe it's just not right for him at least. And then once my son came around, then I feel like it just got really stressful, and it wasn't obviously my son's fault. It was just mine and his, because when you bring a child into this world, it's a big deal, because this world is all kinds of fucked up. It's just scary to know what you're doing once it becomes real. So once we had our son, we were trying our best to make it work, but it just didn't. We were out of love, and that's, I think, was when we were not working anymore. Before we were like this, and then we were like, no.
It's
You're butting heads.
Compatible, not compatible.
So what she was doing, she was doing sign language for people that can't see what she was doing.
No, it was not working.
So, I guess let me answer. I just kind of wonder, right? So you decide, you know what, it's probably best that we don't do this thing together. Mainly because we really maybe fighting a lot and all these things.
Well, was it a mutual decision, I guess?
I feel like at the end it was. I feel like I knew before he did. But
I knew before he did.
Well, maybe I acted before he did.
Okay.
Better said.
Yeah.
Because we were still living together, but it was just constant fights about random things, like things that didn't even matter. And I can't even remember. I can't tell you this is what happened. And this is why.
This one time when he said he needed a new PlayStation, that's when I knew it was over.
Exactly. No, it wasn't even like that. It was just too much. And he was too into himself. And I was too into, I guess, me, but also trying to make it work.
Yeah.
That at the end, I was just done trying. I was like, you know what? He obviously doesn't want it. And, maybe I don't anymore either. And that's when I knew. I was like, okay, it's over.
Was it different, like, when you found someone else? Was he, like, trying to be like, oh, wait, espérate, like, now she's actually with someone else. Let me try to get back in this situation again.
Actually, I feel like once we did break up, he still tried after the fact. But I feel like he was more afraid of trying to, for the new. Like, trying to, when you get comfortable, you're afraid to leave because you're so comfortable. I feel like that's what we were. We were just comfortable. We knew each other's income. We knew each other's credit score, like everything, like inside out. And then thinking about leaving that, it's like, whoa, I don't know if I can. Like, is there even like a way to start new? Like, isn't it too late?
You got shit.
You got shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
it was
I
like,
guess,
damn.
Because you see it with certain relationships, right? You see, parents split, and then you have the new boyfriend come in the picture, the new girlfriend, and all of a sudden this person kind of switches. Sometimes, you have the baby daddy that's now pain in the ass, and it's everything's like, where are you? I need to see you. I need to, and it's just a matter of like just trying to be a pain in the ass, right? Did that ever happen with you guys, or is that just kind of he was just kind of not wanting necessarily to be in a new relationship, but he wasn't trying to make it impossible for you?
I don't know. I wouldn't know what his mindset was within the aftermath, right? Because after that, I was done. I wasn't like trying to make it work. I was like, no, I can't. We've tried so many times to make it work. And it isn't, because people sometimes just...
Yeah, and then it was like, you ain't going to be around when I'm even pregnant, blah, blah, blah. So if you ain't going to be around for that, then fuck you.
I kind of think about, for example, I grew up with a stepdad. And my dad married, like, later on, which means, of course, I guess I had a stepmom when I moved to the States.
He's like, I guess.
No, I was already grown by that point. I was already 17, so it's not like she raised me, you know what I mean? But in having a stepdad, I think one thing that worked that was, like, great for my case in growing up was that my dad wasn't a detractor. He was actually trying to help with whatever he could, right? I'm sure my mom wishes he would help with more, but I think if my dad would have been that type of dude where he was like trying to make it impossible for my mom and all these things, I think there would have been maybe a different view of my dad, and I think it would have messed with the whole dynamic of how raising a child or like the whole co-parenting thing goes. So
I feel like it wouldn't have. It was your dad, right, who got split up?
Yeah. Well,
Or like your dad is the one that got the new woman? Or
so my mom got
both, I guess.
at the same time? Or?
No, so my mom...
It was a mutual separation and new agreement.
So my mom, we left the States and my mom moved to the Dominican Republic, and my dad, got with somebody out here, had a kid.
He got with someone first?
No, my mom did first, but he eventually did too. So
yes.
It was... So I guess, let me rephrase that. So we left the United States, we go to the Dominican Republic, and my mom meets Frank, who's my stepdad, and then from what I remember, that was maybe 3 years after we moved there. So I've always kind of, growing up, had somebody, and that was my stepdad. But, I always knew I had my dad, but it wasn't like, there was no confrontation there. My mom wasn't talking shit about my dad, and my dad wasn't trying to make it hard for my mom to live.
So they were like civil. They were like...
Yeah, they were very civil. And, my dad would come around, like when my dad eventually went to the Dominican Republic, he would come and like he sat down with Frank and like they'll, have a few drinks and be friends, quote unquote, right? I'm sure they're on there.
It was mature about the situation.
Exactly. So I think that kind of helps. So I was just kind of wondering if there was any of that dynamic.
So they were civil. I feel like that has to do with age, with how much older they were. Because you said you were older, right?
Yeah. Well, I was maybe 4 or 5, but
I was thinking way older.
No, but I mean, like maybe my mom and my dad's level of maturity was different.
Yeah, for sure. Because with me and my baby daddy, we were young. We still are young, but the fact was that my son was so little as well that I would say it was easier for me to leave because I feel like my son's not going to remember the bad.
Yeah.
You know, and I always say that, like, I don't want my son to remember the bad. I don't want to see I don't want him to think his dad's a bad person. Because obviously he's his dad. That's the person I chose to have a child with. And I'm always like, I want to try my best to not make him seem like a monster. Although, he did treat me really, really bad a lot of the time. So I'm like, I try to make it the most civil as I could. But when we first split up, he was really rude, like saying mean things. He was trying to, put me down. And he's like, no one's going to ever love me and love you like I love you,
And shit, I hope so.
Yeah.
Because goddamn.
No one's ever
Call me ugly, bitch.
That was love.
And then at that point, I was like, man, what if no one does love me? And I was like, oh, man. And I was all scared.
No, so you currently with somebody?
Yeah, I am.
All right. So how does that work out?
So it happened pretty quick, and that's why my favorite quote right now is...
You just make everything quick. Cool.
I do, man. Sorry.
Decisions get made on the
She's
spot.
Like, I was with my boy, had a baby, that was quick. He got out of my life quick, and now I'm with this other guy pretty quick.
But now we've been together for a while now. It's almost been 2 years.
So not so quick.
Oh, so he was like there like after you just had a kid, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. And that's like... Even my ex said, like, that's a man right there, because he stepped up. Because
I didn't know what one looked like for a minute. Thank God someone came in your life and gave a good example, because goddamn.
Is that what a man's supposed to do?
Can he be my daddy too? Shit.
No, but I think that, that changes things, right? So how does that,
I didn't know. I was scared as well. Like, I feel like I'm a pussy. I was scared the whole time, right? But... I don't know. It was meant to be, like, it just fell perfectly after I met him. And I swear, my son loves him so much. He looks up to him. He says, Daddy George. That's my man's name, George. He calls him Dad. And, he's the one that's there for the hard stuff. Like, when I was having a tough time because my son wasn't cooperating with me, or when he was maybe he was sick, or I had to take him.
Did he whip out the belt?
Nah. I feel like maybe if we lived on our own, like together, he probably would.
See, I think that's why I couldn't be like the guy, a co-parent, because I'd be like, well, that's gonna be my kid. I'm gonna treat him like I would my kid. I'm gonna spank him. You shouldn't. Well, then I shouldn't be here.
And actually, kind of
that's exactly what he says. That's exactly what he says.
And I kind of talked about this in like a previous episode, but my dad would never hit me. My dad's never hit me once.
But his stepdad beat the shit out of
mine either.
Yeah. My stepdad beat the shit out of me.
My real father never hit me either, because I don't think he ever saw me. So
no, but I think it's. I think
maybe he did, like when he was like, man, if I had my son here, I'd beat his ass. Maybe he did. I don't know.
No, but I think it's part of the dynamic, right?
Yeah.
When you step into that role, I think you've got to come ready to know that you're gonna raise a kid. Mm-hmm. And with our case, it was 4 kids. You know what I mean? Like, but my stepdad, like, he was there. He was the man of the house. You know what I mean? And he hit me all the time, but obviously deserved. He wouldn't just like wake up in the bad mood and slap the shit out of me.
He's like, God damn it, Randy, the coconut tree.
Fuck out of here! No, no, but you know what I mean. Like, but I think it in part it kind of helps having that person there. So, do you feel like it's what you would have wanted eventually? I mean, the moment that you're splitting up, I'm sure you're not thinking like, oh, I can't wait to get a new man, right? But
no,
but now that you do, I think it's probably like a good thing, right? That happened so quickly, and that it wasn't like when your kid was 9, 10, right?
Yeah, if it wouldn't have happened so quickly, I probably would have went back. I think I was not strong enough. Yeah, I just wouldn't have. I would have went back. Although everything that we went through and all, I knew I wasn't happy. I feel like because of, again, that comfort, I would have fell back.
Yeah, and you probably felt like you needed like a dad figure, right? Like you probably felt like at some point. Family. Yeah, at some point you'll be like, yo, like I can't just do single mom. Like he needs to have a dad, or he needs.
I honestly didn't think of that.
No,
that didn't cross my mind. I need to make myself happy now. I know I have a son and I know everything, but in order for me to move forward and grow, I need to make myself happy in order to make him happy and anyone else happy. So that was my mindset, and I was not looking to get in a relationship. I was like, I'm about to be like 3 years single. I'm gonna like, do this, do that. Like, I don't
How old's your man?
Let's party.
Are you guys like the same age?
Yeah, he's 23 as well, and he's like, we're 6 months difference. So.
No, but that's
Damn.
I think that changes like the whole thing, like the whole dynamic, and I think it's good for the kid too.
I feel a lot. It also has to do with their backgrounds, because my baby daddy was raised by a single mom he has like 5 siblings, I think it was.
So, continue. Sorry, I was gonna say something.
Doing some math.
No. Go ahead. Continue.
And so that was his situation on this side, right? Compared to my man now, his mom and dad are still together. His siblings are he has 3 older sisters. So I feel like they taught him a lot. And he grew up maybe in a better situation than what my baby daddy did. And that made him be my man now, the man he is.
You mean you're the current man in your life.
George.
Your fiance.
George, yeah, my fiance.
Oh, fiance. Yo, congratulations. I just found that out just now. So he was raised by a single mother.
No.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, but he had sisters that kind of maybe helped him see.
Yeah, so he was born in a, what did you say, like a united family? There's like a name for that?
A together family.
Yeah, so
like
mom and dad
family.
Together, brothers and sisters, everyone together, right?
Okay, so how does your baby daddy situation make him act the way he did?
I feel like because he grew up seeing that, and the hate.
The father was absent.
Yeah, the father was absent.
So he's like, I want to be absent too.
He's like,
I want to be an absent father too.
If he can miss this whole parenthood, I can miss it too.
No, because I had a single mother my whole life, pretty much, right? Besides my teenage years, she got remarried or whatever. But I don't know. In my head from the jump, I remember being 10 years old and being like, I ain't never gonna abandon my kid if I ever have one. Weird that a 10-year-old think like that.
Yeah.
Until this day, like, obviously I don't have no kids yet. But I would think, just because I'm like, yo, that kid's from my cloth, I want to make sure the motherfucker's taken care of.
And, my baby daddy does do that. He said that. And, the fact that he didn't maybe treat me right, it doesn't mean he doesn't treat my son right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He treats him so good.
Okay.
And they're really good together. And my son loves his dad. He does. And he's in and out of his life. Like, last time I talked to him, I was like, you need to be more consistent or I'm just going to say no. Because I have full custody of my son.
Okay.
Because I got on it. I was like, nope. So after our biggest fight that me and him had ever had, I got custody of my son a couple months after that because it was kind of...
Because you're a woman.
Yeah, I needed to get custody.
And it was a judge's decision.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Okay.
Yeah, the judge can go for the
woman. Anyways.
But
congratulations.
Thanks. Yes. So I got full custody, but obviously he's still the legal father, so he has rights.
Yeah.
And...
Thank God. We still have rights.
Yeah, y'all still got a little bit of something. So better said, he has like the documents, right? Like everything that states when and how much he can visit our son.
Yeah.
But he's the kind of person that just shows up. Father's Day and Christmas, birthday.
So only on holidays.
Yeah.
I came to pick up my son.
Did you not
I'll
read
come
the
back
papers?
next week to pick up my son.
Be like, did you read the papers though?
No, I don't think he even has them anymore. But whatever it may be.
So with him, is it more like, yo, it's my kid though. I should be able to show up whenever. Is it like that?
I feel like he wants to still visit him and like be in his life, but his life isn't even put together well enough for him to try to.
Does he have someone like?
I don't know, but I hope he
some
finds
side
someone.
hoes.
I
He got some side hoes. He's like, guess what, bitch? I can procreate. I don't know what that means for you, but this dick can do something.
Does he get along with your fiance? Like, no.
No,
they don't even know
they
him?
haven't talked. I swear, like the first time they met, that was the most awkwardest thing I have ever experienced.
He's like, hello, my name is George. I am the man.
I am the new father.
I am the
He's
alpha
like-
male.
He's like, hi, this is what a man's supposed to look like.
Oh my god! You guys don't say these things.
No, I'm just
Sorry.
kidding.
No,
We're gonna use this in court.
No, baby daddy. We are just kidding. Don't take anything offensive.
No, yeah. No,
but you could be a man
and
learn something.
So thank you.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, but I think at the end, it's just that, and it's good that, like you say, you understand that he's supposed to be part of your kid's life, and that you let him, see the kid, and that you ask for him to be a little bit more consistent or present. Yeah, because I think it's important, and I think at the end of the day, like, for example, me growing up, I always knew my dad was my dad. That was my, generic dude that made me.
Perception.
Yeah.
Your sperm.
My sperm. No. No, but then there was my stepdad who was like my dad. I never really called him dad, but I think it's just one of those things that
It was implied.
Yeah, it was almost like whatever he says goes, and I think it's just good to have a father figure, but at the same time understand that for you to raise a child, you don't have to be in a situation, right? If you're not good together, then that's fine. You can split, and you can still both. Let's say whether you find a new man or he finds a new woman, you can still take care of the kid, raising the kid, making sure you're both present for the kids. And I think it's just kind of one of those things that's got to happen. But it's sad when it doesn't.
Let's take this conversation towards more the actual baby father, baby daddy, baby mama, baby whatever conversation. So if anybody refers to you as the baby mama, or you want to say baby daddy, does that term itself bother you? Do you feel like it's degrading in any way, or do you feel like it's whatever, it is what it is, that's my baby daddy, I'm a baby mama, whatever?
I feel like I can say baby daddy too. That's fine. I can say that.
But don't call me baby mama.
No, I'm mother.
I'm a mother because I am there. I am present. It's not like I'm just dipping out to the club, using my child support money to go get my nails done. No, that shit's
you get child
in a
support?
bank. No, if you pay it, but he doesn't.
Oh, so when you get child support.
No, but that's actually a good point.
Yeah.
Actually, is that what baby dad, I guess now thinking about it, baby daddy, maybe it's just you made the kid and you're not really present. Father,
yeah, because at that point you wouldn't
the
the father.
Well, no, because I'm not a baby daddy, but if I had a kid and I wasn't with the woman, I would be and I had to introduce her. That's my baby mom.
No, but I think
you wouldn't just say the person's name.
No, I think you.
Nah, man, that's that bitch. There you go.
I think
there's a reason why I ain't with that bitch.
But I think you become baby.
But she loves you very much, Timmy. But
I think you get the baby daddy title or the baby mama title when you're not the present one. When you're
I feel it has a negative connotation. It's never there's my baby daddy. I'm so proud of him.
This my kid's mom's.
Yeah.
Moms.
Mom. Yeah.
Plural.
No, this is who it is. No, I guess it's just. I was just wondering where the term kind of starts.
Okay, so if you two, the guys here, if you weren't in relationships, you weren't married or whatever, and you were to find someone with a child, what would you think your initial thought would be? Crap, I can't be in this, or you wouldn't care. You would just be the bigger man, Jorge.
So I better know that this person got a kid within 24 hours.
What?
Don't waste my time. Just
don't waste. She needs to tell you.
Tell me. Gotta tell me. I'm not currently in the situation. I've been in situations where they had a kid and I didn't know, and I was like, "Oh, this ain't gonna work out."
You didn't know until when?
Maybe a couple days or a week into it. Hey, just want to drop this on you. I'm like, well. What the fuck?
I'm gonna drop into the exit.
No, because I'll be honest. It depends. I think it depends how much you love the person. One, how much you really into that person. You know what? I'll see if I can make this work. I don't care, right? Because me personally, how I feel, I want my own kid before I take care of somebody else's kid.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think for me, it's just more like Sean said. I think I gotta know right away. And again, I'm not talking about. I just met you. Hi, my name is, so-and-so, and I have a kid. That's a little too much. But I think if we're already dating and maybe it's going in somewhere where we're about to get intimate or we're, no, I'm saying it's headed that way.
Before we have sex.
Intimacy is usually on the first date.
No, personally.
That's why I said 24 hours, because intimacy got to be within 24 hours. I got to know how long I could really be with you. Is it going to be good or is it not going to be good?
No, I think for me, it's just more of that, before the
There's
relationship.
There's only one occurrence that didn't happen like that.
Before the...
Unfortunately. Well, fortunately.
Fortunately.
Sorry.
No, but anyways, for me, I do think it's important. Before it gets serious, before we start getting anywhere serious, right? I feel like I need to know, right? Let's say, worst case scenario, we hook up that one night, and you get pregnant, and now I got to deal with the fact that you had another kid. Like, I feel like you got to tell me before this happens.
Scenarios are just crazy.
You never know.
Jeez.
Yeah, you never know. So,
a woman with 4 different baby daddies.
Yeah.
Is it the girl's fault or these guys are just crazy?
Guys.
But for me, if you tell me, then I think
the question was you would be okay with it. I guess if they are upfront with you, I guess in the first 24 hours, you'll be okay.
And I think I would. I think at this point it's just big thing is knowing. But after that, I think you gotta understand that that's the relationship you're getting into, and
I feel like it also depends on like the age. I guess that you do try to find someone. For example, if you're in your late 20s, early 30s, I'm like, to be honest, if you were trying to find somebody, the likelihood of that person not having a child already is kind of
too many hoes out there in the world.
Oh my gosh,
too many hoes.
No, I'm saying
why is everyone having these kids? Why can't a person be 30 and not have one?
I think a big thing there is knowing that that's what you're getting into and be ready for it. Don't waste that person's time. I'm talking about the person that already has a child, and whether it's a man or a woman, right? If you know up front, I have a kid, then know that that's what that relationship is going to look like. So, be ready.
No, and to kind of piggyback on that, I'm not saying in 24 hours I know I'm going to be with this woman forever. Right? I'm just saying, in 24 hours you tell me, so I know what the situation is.
What is the equivalent of her confessing to you that she has a child? What are you going to confess to her? Because I feel like that's so much pressure on someone. Like, obviously, I'm sure they don't want to hide it from you, but it's also intimidating to bring that up and be like, damn.
Well, I say it tells you the person's character, the woman's character. Well, if that kid is your world, let me know that's your world.
Well, and beyond that, I mean, putting something on the table is just if you have it, I feel like. If you have a kid, you got to tell me. The same way that if I have a kid, I have to tell you. Now, I think beyond that, if we start...
you have a kid?
No.
Oh, okay, just checking.
I wouldn't tell you if I did.
DR somewhere.
Because the 24 hours already passed.
No, yeah.
7 years.
No, but what I mean is
10,000 pesos every month.
Dang, I came out of challenge.
No, like I feel like certain things, right, like gotta be said. Like not for nothing, and I don't know what that's like, but I feel like, let's say you have a felony, for example. I have a felony of some sort. No, if we're gonna start getting serious,
Jennifer, you have a felony, 3-year felony.
No, but I'm talking about if we're gonna get serious, if we're already getting serious, I think at that point be like, hey, before we continue, I gotta let you know my credit score is 420.
Oh my God.
And I got a felony.
I think the credit score thing.
I feel like that should be one of the first questions.
Credit score. I can't get a great job.
I have a great personality. That boosts my credit score a couple hundred, I think. Like,
no, but you know what I mean? Like, I feel like if that was you and your credit is 420 or you have a felony, then that's something that you can't keep. You gotta, at one point, share that.
So just so I understand, and just so Jennifer understands, a child, horrible credit score, and a felony.
No, what I mean is
and AIDS.
No. I compare them in sense of having something to disclose. If you don't have a kid, if you don't got,
I really don't want you to disclose your credit score.
No. I'm kidding about the credit score.
Can I get some good dick that I think has like good credit score? Good pussy with good credit score. Can I at least get that?
I'm actually about the credit score.
I mean, damn, these low credit score motherfuckers giving it out here like they really about it.
No. And that's again the credit score is really. I was kidding on that one, but I'm saying if you have something serious to disclose, whatever that is, whether it's a kid or whether it's the fact that you're battling an addiction or whatever it is. No, I feel like these things gotta come out sooner than later so that the person has the choice to decide if they want to stay or go.
Yeah, and kind of what I meant by that is this, like, within 24 hours, let me know the situation. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, if it's going to work out, like, you're still hitting me up. If I'm feeling you, I'm going to still hit you up, too. Because at the end of the day, you had a baby. I know what else you'd be doing to have that baby.
Oh, my God.
So, but, right?
Like,
but if you have a good personality and all that bullshit, right? Obviously, I'm going to continue talking to you. And then later be like, I know that we kind of started off like this, but I'm kind of feeling you. I'm kind of feel responsible to help you out, too.
Yeah.
And whatever you're going through. And that's how that would build. I'm not saying, tell me you got a kid and if you fucking fine enough, I'm gonna stick around. No, it ain't like that. It's just more like
a great credit score, apparently.
But I think it's good for you
if they have a great credit score, believe I'm gonna stick around.
No, I'm saying no. At the end, it's just I think that person decides deserves to know, whether you have a kid, whether you have a felony or anything serious. I think it's got to come up earlier rather than later. Because I will leave you if
you and your fiance work out as far as like him finding out. How did that work out? Like, did he already know that you had the child, or
I told him I straight off the bat. That was like the first
within the 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No, that was like within the 24 seconds. Like,
hi, my name is Jenny. I got a kid.
Hi, my name is Jorge. Oh, I have a kid. Like that.
Basically.
That's what's up. So you let him know, hey, I ain't gonna.
But see, that's respectable.
Yeah.
I think at that point he decides, yo, I'm gonna holler at this girl, or you know what, I'm not ready for all this. You know,
he was probably like, oh, she got a kid. She wants some.
She wants all
I
of
mean,
this.
you're not wrong, but.
When she's like, hi, my name is Jenny. I have a kid. Oh, so you want another one? So what you're telling me?
Yeah, like I've been put down so long by baby daddy. I want to get put down in another way by current daddy.
Current daddy.
Current daddy.
No, so,
forever daddy.
I applaud you.
You're gonna get married.
No, that's respectable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's letting the person know, and then beyond that it's whatever happens.
What was his response?
You know what? I'm trying to remember when I said it because I feel like I said it so much.
He's like, I didn't ask.
I'm like, I'm just trying to
you forgot. I have a child.
Basically, like when
my next question wasn't how old he was. I'll tell you that.
No, yeah, because I think I did say it multiple times. Like, you know how you first get to know someone and it's like, what do you like doing for fun?
With
I'm
my
going to be with my
Play with
kid.
my kid. What do you do on your free time?
Breastfeed.
I take care of my kid.
I'm
My kid and I
breastfeeding. I'm
go-
breastfeeding like 3 times a day with my kid.
It's like,
And
my kid and
I
I
like
go to
long
movies.
walks on the beach with my kid.
and I walk on the beach while breastfeeding
It's
my
like,
kid.
he's like,
Are you okay with that?
I love Italian food, especially with my kid. No, but anyways, no, but that's good.
How did you meet him?
At work. Not where I work currently, but previously I worked at a restaurant. And it just happened, okay? It just was crazy. So initially I was working...
No judgments.
Okay. So
This
I
is
was
the gray
working...
area.
This is the gray area. So I was working at a mall in a big store. And I quit that job so I can go to school, right? Because I was going to school, going to college, getting my degree, everything. And I quit so I can focus on school.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had just had a kid, so that was going to be hard. And my baby daddy was supposed to help. And he obviously didn't. And one thing led to another. We split up maybe seriously, the same week that it was my last week. The next week we probably broke up. Mm-hmm. So I was like, dang, I'm out of a job. Oh, sorry.
Out of a man.
Out of a job. I can't go to school anymore. I gotta get shit together. So I did. I started looking for jobs, and the first job I got, I took it.
Oh, I thought you and I started looking for men. I was like, oh shit, that's how you did it. Craigslist. Motherfuckers that want to help support.
Sugardaddy.com.
Hey, shout out to Jenny with the chicken daddy.
Just
Wait, what?
kidding.
She's the one that introduced it to me.
What the
Whoa!
I know one thing. I'm never on that page, or could be. I ain't helping out no financial bullshit.
So I think what you mean is that you found out about this because of Jenny in some way.
Huh?
Wait, did she say Janet?
Sugardaddy.com?
I said Janet.
Janet.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought Jenny. I'm like, Jenny? Like shit, I didn't know this.
It was me.
No, cool.
I don't tell everybody.
So, all right, so you decide you need to get a job, right?
Yes, because it was around the time that we had just gotten our tax return, and I was like, I can make it for a month. I'll be good. I'll make it for a month.
Shit, my tax return put me back a few months.
So
I was like, that's how much I can hang. So in this month, I need to get me a job. So I did. I got the first one I could. My best friend's mom looked it up, and I worked at the airport in a restaurant called Market Street Grill. That's where we met.
Oh, that's what's up. I like that.
Yeah. It's really nice. I like it there too.
it's really nice.
So you said that you don't remember his initial reaction when you told him that he had a child.
I feel like he just made me feel so calm and okay with it that I didn't. And I didn't know what I was really looking for either. It wasn't like I was like, oh, I'm going to marry that guy. It's like, that one's mine. I was just like, you're a coworker, you're a friend. I didn't think much of it until I got to know him.
And then it was like, damn, he's fine.
Like,
His
okay,
personality.
I was like,
His
damn.
fine
He made me feel
personality.
comfortable. Oh. I wonder
like-
if his car seats are comfortable.
Oh my gosh.
Because the airport parking lot, that's free. You 24/7.
You gotta have a badge though.
And you guys had him. You guys had badges.
Yes, you did.
That's why I'm like, well, don't you have a badge?
So how soon into the relationship did he meet your son?
Ooh, it was a while before he did. I'm gonna say like
a couple months.
Yeah, a couple months. Because that was the thing. I was like, I'm not gonna let him meet him till like a year, till I know, till
we know for sure we're gonna get married.
It was probably like a couple months for sure. Like, I don't know. I want to say like longest 6 months, maybe, or maybe 3.
So a good stretch. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to get to know him very well before. I mean, as well as you can get to know someone.
Yeah.
Before you introduce him.
But you didn't know his credit score. That's a red flag.
Then 6 months hit, and he's like, I don't like kids.
Damn. Well, never mind then.
No, but so.
All right, so he meets your kid, and he's like, yo, your kid's cool.
I feel like he was awkwarded out. I think he didn't know what to do either. Like, he was just like, kid, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. And he was just kind of like there. He took us to go get ice cream, and it was fun. And then little by little, we started, going on dates, me and him and my son. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden it turned into just me, him, and my son. Okay. And then it just grew from there.
Yo, so quick question then. How long did it take you to tell your baby daddy that you was talking to somebody?
I feel like he knew right away. I feel like he's
like, you ain't wanting me no more. Something's up.
No, yeah. Because honestly, like, when we were together, that was it. Like, if it wasn't for me, like, reaching out, like, having good people around me and, supporting me, I would have stayed. Because I would have just me and him. Just that relationship. My friends that I had, like, growing up pretty much weren't there anymore because I don't think they were afraid of him, but they just didn't want to deal with it.
They didn't want to deal with it.
Yeah, they were like,
Did he find out of the new relationship because you told him, or did he hear from, like...
I did tell him. You did? I told him. Because my boyfriend, my fiance now... I don't know.
Then he smiled and said, look at you. He's like, yo, my fiance now.
Fiance?
Fiance now.
Do it again, Sean.
Fiance now.
My fiance now.
You don't have to keep repeating it.
she's like, I'm just very proud of it.
I like hearing it in these things. Sounds cool.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
Just the point she's gonna replay on the video.
So you tell him, like, hey, so just so you know, like, how does that conversation go? Like, it's just like, hey, I just want you to know there's somebody that I'm seeing and he's here.
Yeah.
I want you to meet him. Sorry.
No, I didn't want him to meet him. I was like, that was my biggest fear. I didn't want to meet him. I didn't want them to cross paths at all whatsoever. Because the history of my ex, knowing him, I was like, I don't know what the heck he's going to do. What he would do, what he's capable of, who he'll bring around. Like, I was just afraid. And my fiance, I was like, this is a new guy. I have never seen him fight. I don't know if he's going to throw it down or not. Like, I'm scared. I'm like, what if, they don't.
You're going to learn today. Or that day.
So
I was, trying to keep them as separate as possible. And my George was like, no, like, why do you do that? Like, if we're going to fight for whatever reason it may be, then we will. Like, you need to stop doing that. He got really mad because even one time we were at a gasoline station, right? He was pumping gas. And I was sitting in the car texting, chilling, like, just on my phone. And I look over and I thought I saw my baby daddy's car. And I was like, group. And I, like, laid down. And I was like, we need to leave. And he was like, why? What's going on? I was like, no, just get in the car. Let's go.
You acting like you was cheating.
I know. No, I don't know. It's because I was just so afraid of him. And that's just it. Because he was very mentally abusive to me.
You meet, your new man, your fiance, today.
No, you can't say it.
I can't say it like that.
Sean has to say it because that was horrible.
So, anyways, so you meet. Say hi, buddy.
Oh, Omega's on the set with us today.
If you guys haven't met Omega, this is the dog of the house. This is our kid. Anyways,
their kid.
So you meet, your new man, and you start dating. Like you say, you get to introduce him to the family. How did his family feel about the fact that his new girlfriend has a kid?
They were so accepting of it. They were so nice about it. And he, I told him, I was like, you need to tell them first. Like, what if they don't approve of me? Because being Hispanic, being Mexican myself, that's like a big no-no. It's like a lot of Hispanic people are very, very just judgmental about that situation. And they're like, no, why can't you get yourself a different girl or something like that? You know, a lot of parents do that and say that to their either daughters or sons. But I lucked out. I love my suegra. Like, she's amazing. She's so nice to me, and so is my suegro. Like, they're all amazing. I just love his family, and I can't wait to raise a family with him, with those morals. Like, they are so amazing. I know, I lucked out.
Shout out to me and Randy.
No, that's a great.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
No, that's really a good thing. The fact that the family is accepting of it, and you know, they're supportive. You know what I mean, and supporting the whole movement, I guess. So
if anything, my family was the hard ones, and at times still are. Like my mom, she's always been very like, he's not the dad, or he can't, you know, like hit him or anything like that. She'll be the one that says those things. Yeah, and I was like,
you mind your business,
but you know.
That's the last time you talk like that to a Hispanic parent.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that.
Exactly. No, yeah, I feel like if anything, it was more my family, because they were more, I feel like, afraid for me, because they saw all my previous relationship, because I lived with my parents and we lived in their basement, and they saw all the bad, all the fights, all the anger that we had, and how bad that relationship was, that they were afraid that I would get right into another one like it. So I feel like, if anything, they were traumatized, just as I was, and they were just very on the fence about it until they got to know him, and now they see how of an amazing man he is and a provider he is to me and my son, and how he stepped up 100% than someone else that I know that didn't, you know.
Yeah. Who was watching your kid when you was on these dates?
My parents. I would ask them. I would tell them.
So they would encourage you to date people that they knew they wasn't going to be approvable?
Well, the thing is, I feel like at the beginning I would just say, I'm going out with friends. I'm going out with some coworkers.
I'm going to go.
Which was not a lie. I mean, he was a coworker.
He was my friend.
With benefits.
Oh my goodness.
I don't have to add that part.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's an interesting dynamic, you know, just trying to figure all that out, and, you know, parents being involved and all that. So, I mean, glad it worked out in the end.
Yeah.
If the situation was reversed and your fiance is the one, you know, before you guys even got engaged or whatever, you first get to know him and he's the one with the child, how do you think you would have felt?
And that's with if I didn't have a child, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I feel like I have two answers. Because the old me, I would be like, no. Like, this is not for me.
The single you.
Yeah, the old single me would have been like, no, this is not for me.
The young
single. Yeah. Stepmom in this I don't want to deal with no baby mama drama. Main thing, because I feel like the women, the majority of the time, not to be like bashing, but we're crazy. Like, if you are a leader at the end of the relationship, you get all crazy. You're like, no, he can't do this. I don't want her around my child or anything like that.
Wait,
you know?
I saw him smiling. Burn the house down.
Exactly. Oh but sometimes they're like me, and like it's super cool, and like I hope you find love. I hope you do find someone, you know, and things like that. But still, I wouldn't want to mess with it. And then on top of it, I know that sometimes the mothers will take, like, you know, anything to their power to keep that child away from the father, because of the fact that they're jealous, angry, or like whatever it may be, or just because they are like just wanting the child. Just basically, they just do want the child, and they don't want the father to be in their life. And having someone else there, I feel like makes it harder for the dads, because in the courtroom, the women have the power 100%. We're gonna win the majority of the time, unless you're on drugs or some shit.
The dad's gotta prove that he can be a dad.
The woman can be damn near like on the street.
And she'll keep the kid.
And she'll keep the kid, yeah. And that's why I'm like, some fathers are genuine, great fathers out there, and they don't get the kid. I mean, I'm sorry, bless you. Can't whisper, I'm sorry. But some guys are freaking amazing, and they don't get the children because whatever, por los huevos de su mamá. Like, por sus pinche huevos, that's why. And I feel like it would be, the old me would be like that, like would be like no, because of all those reasons. And the experience, new me. The mommy me would be like, hell yeah, like give me another child. Like I'm ready to love them as well. I'm like, I already am a great mom. Yeah. I'm down for more. So I don't know. I feel like I really am, George. Whenever you listen to this,
that's actually no, that's interesting.
Let's start practicing. Oh, just kidding.
No, that's actually a good point. I think it's as you mature, I think you see things differently. Again, 21-year-old me would have been like, no kids. You know what? If you're even thinking about kids, I'm out. And then, talking about 28-year-old me, and, I think it'll be a different story because I think you can understand now, you know what? We're older. If I really like this woman, are you sending signals to somebody?
Yeah.
To who?
The camera.
Anyways. If when you're older, I think you realize, at this point, people have lived a lot of their life, and that may involve kids now, and you just gotta know that that's what's gotta be. So one last question to kind of wrap it up, I guess, and bring it all together. Since you're the only one with kids, what would you recommend? One with the kid, yeah. What would you recommend for anybody that's got to maybe deal with the whole co-parenting thing, or anybody that's getting into this kind of relationships where somebody already has a kid and maybe it's a new thing for both? What would you recommend?
Take a step back, look at what you're dealing with, really look at it and analyze it before you try to fix anything. Because I feel like the majority of the time, anybody, whether the mom or the dad, they try to fix it. They try to, make the kid happy, make him feel some type of way, make him, feel like it's not their fault. I feel like because you say that, it makes them think it's their fault, So think of what you're doing, think about what you're going to say and how you are going to do everything before you even stick your foot in at all whatsoever, And then from that, I think once you have the communication, because the majority of it is just communication with one another. You just need to talk it through, like with your ex, and maybe whoever comes in the future, talk to them about it as well. Just make sure everything's out in the open and on the table, and don't hide anything whatsoever.
That's good.
At all.
That's really good advice. Very sound advice. So, for the next segment of the podcast, we're going to do the 3, 2, 1. For those of you guys that are new to the podcast, this is where each of us will talk about one thing that was impactful for us, whether it was because it was funny or made you think or whatever the case was, made you sad, any of that. So, we'll do that. We'll do the 3, 2, 1. Sean, is there something that was impactful for you this week?
Yeah, so, I'm a sports fan.
Yeah.
LeBron James.
Taking it to the next level.
Taking it to round 2.
45 points.
I'm just saying, 15 years, he's never lost in the first round of the playoffs. Amazing. That just shows, you could be gifted, but when you put work behind it, it's going to push you that much further. And that's just what he's proven every day. I know I don't personally know him, but, it's LeBron motherfucking James. So.
And I think it goes to show, teamwork. Because at the end of the day, they had to kind of step it up. He did it all on his own.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like, a couple teammates dropped 5 points.
Yeah.
There.
No, but I'm saying at the end of the day, I think it's driving that because he can't do all of it. But there's no way he did all of it defensively and everything.
Yeah, like you're saying, like him actually still trusting his teammates, still passing them the ball.
But dude, that's like legendary right there. He was down. Everybody thought he's out.
And another quick note, he just broke the all-time most steals in a playoff series or a playoffs period. Yeah. He broke that, so he's number 1 in that, and he's gonna be number 1 in points, and he's probably gonna be number 1 in assists.
Dude,
like he's gonna break every record.
Congrats to the Cavaliers and all the fans out there.
I'm not a Cavs fan, but with LeBron there, I wish I was.
No, but that's actually it was big. Honestly, I didn't see the game, but I checked the score and I was like, oh shit, they won. They're on to the next round. I really kind of counted them out when they were losing those games back to back, and it was just interesting. So good. All right, Jenny, do you have something that was impactful this week? You wanna?
I got my nails done.
Yeah.
I got my nails done with my best friend and my best friend's mommy.
Nails. Getting the nails did. So
yeah.
Was that with Galita?
Yeah, it was with Gala.
Yeah. You guys met Gala before. But anyways, yeah, that's what you
and Claudia? Oh, what? You guys got your nails done?
Yeah, we all got our nails done. And I don't know, it's just fun having girl time because that's something I don't get too much. So
shoot, that's one woman that she tell you straight too. Yeah. She's pretty raw.
No, that's good. A little girl time. Nails did. All right. Well, how about you, Raina?
Impactful. Well, the impactful thing is about to happen. Actually, what time is it? It's already 1 a.m, so it's April 30th. So today marks the 2 years that we've had our doggy, Omega. Aww. So, yeah, it's very special for us because
so cute.
We just love him so much.
Oh my God, give a bark.
I don't know why. I'm surprised he doesn't bark on command.
Shout out to Omega. Yeah, he barks a lot. No, but
he barks without command.
Cool. All right. Actually, I hate to like ruin a good time, but there was something that really bothered me this week, and I'm gonna put it out there and just kind of, I think of course we gotta change, be better people in general, but I think even talking about Omega kind of makes me sad to think about this. But I saw a video, and 2 things I got out of it that was very impactful. One, why the hell do people post things like this online? Of course they want to get the views and they want to get the likes or whatever, or people commenting and outrage and all that. But it kind of made me think. So to kind of put it out, and again, it's going to be graphic, so I'm going to put that out there. This dude tied up his dog by like a little, some stairs.
I haven't seen this video.
Okay, so he has him tied up in a little thing, and he hits him with like a bat, like right here in the head, like hard, like a man hits a, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And of course the dog, you can tell the dog is probably like dead or he's gonna. Yeah. And I didn't continue to watch it, but I was like, what the fuck? 2 things. One, why the fuck would you do that? Like, I mean, if you don't want the dog, like, then let him go or whatever the fuck, right? You don't gotta be that cruel. So, one is that, and 2, why the fuck would people post this and then share it like it's some fucking like funny thing? And it wasn't. I mean, it was somebody dear to me that posted it, and it was with the message of like, how like this is so messed up and we got to do better as humans, and the message was the right message, but I'm like, you're promoting it by putting it out there. You're doing what they want, which is letting people see the shit, you know what I mean? Whoever put this video wants people to see the cruelty behind it, and then you trying to bring up a good message. You don't have to post a video. You can say, hey guys,
yes, give it to
let's be better people. If you have an animal, take care of your animals. If you don't want them, let them go. So that really bothered me.
I would try to see that man hit something that would fight back.
For real, like dude, like I will not for the fact of like seeing somebody doing it, but I would love for some motherfucker to do some shit like that in front of me, because that's the day, like I'm for reals, go to jail that day. We're gonna fight. You know what I mean? Like no, like I'm not.
Yo, Raina, you hear that? You hear that, Raina?
Just for a dog.
No, not just for a dog. For anything, man. And it could be a fucking rabbit. It could be whatever, man. Like you don't do that fucking shit. Like so. That really, but so with that, if you're my friend on any kind of social media, I'm gonna tell you right now, don't post shit like that, because one, I hit it and I kind of did the whole thing where you hide every post for like the next, like whatever, whatever long enough. I didn't report it because then it's gonna ask all these questions about, the person, like this person posts, and that's not what this person posts about all the time. So I didn't want to like report and cost maybe this person's account to be deactivated or who knows what, but. If I see some shit like that, I'll hide it the first time, and if I see some shit like that a second time, I'll delete you. I don't give a fuck.
So we're not friends on Facebook, huh?
No,
why are you posting things like that? Get out shit.
I'm not posting anything. It just really bothers me, just to kind of see the whole thing and
no, that's anything. Sad, man. I never seen that.
When people getting hurt, even like getting stabbed or getting shot, and like all these, we don't really need to see all that.
You need to like rethink your Facebook friends, because I don't see much of that on my Facebook.
Yeah, that's seriously, I've never seen.
Well, no, like Reddy said, like, he doesn't normally post things like this.
Yeah, I don't, but people do. And thinking back when like the whole ISIS thing started, there was that whole decapitation thing. That shit was online, like post. I'm like, shit, I don't want to see nobody get fucking decapitated on Facebook, like,
Well, I'm on a positive note.
So
yeah, gosh, trying to get on.
Sorry, it was just really meaningful.
Yeah,
well, that impacted,
and we're really happy about that.
Yeah,
and his birthday's May 2nd, so.
All right, no, but yeah. Anyways, so yeah, to leave it on a positive note, we gotta be better people. Let's be better people. If you have an animal, if you have a pet, just, if you don't want it, just somebody will take it, and if not, then just let it go. I'm sure the dog will find a way, and or there's shelters you can take him to sometimes, and even in like third world countries, you can let him be a stray dog, and someone may pick him up one day. Or anyways, just we gotta be better people. But anyways, it was a great time today in the episode having Jenny join us.
Whoa, yeah, with my segment.
No, hold on. We're gonna do your segment. And just I want to say,
the show ended.
I'm trying to shift it. I'm trying to shift it into a positive light again. Just trying to bring it back. Cutting me. No, anyways, no, a good time and a lot of good. I think we got into a lot of good things and good advice and things like that. So.
You get one chopstick up your ass. You get two chopsticks up your ass.
Oh, and one thing that was impactful too, Avengers: Infinity War. Go check it out. Anyway, going on. So the next segment, Raina's gonna break it down. What is it?
After you shut me down.
I didn't shut
hold
you.
on.
He'll cut it.
All right, so the next segment, if you're new, is called the People's Note. So this is our version of the quote of the day.
What's the quote of the day, Raina?
The quote of the day is, cooperation means win-win. Confrontation means lose-lose.
I don't believe in that, but okay.
Sometimes confrontation could be win-lose.
Or win-win.
Win-win?
Yeah, let's say confrontation, right? Motherfucker want to fight you, he think he bad. Then he ran into Mr. Bad. Now he knows how he should just really play his role. And the other guy's like, I put him in his place.
Yeah.
So that's a win-win?
Win-win, I guess.
I guess that was a sucky quote. My bad, guys.
No. It was a great quote.
No,
all right. No, but...
like, skip the People's Note.
Yeah. So, thank you guys for joining us for episode 16.
Yo.
Yeah. So, if you haven't, click subscribe. However you're listening to us, subscribe, leave us a comment, a rating. Let us know how we're doing. If there's anything you want us to change or maybe talk about in the future, leave it down below in the comments. Follow us on Instagram at Great People Podcast. On Twitter as well, Great People Podcast. You can email us if you have any suggestion at greatpeoplepodcast@gmail.com. Everything is Great People Podcast. But again, thank you everybody for the support. Thanks for all the feedback all the time that we get from a lot of you guys. We really appreciate it. And with that,
thank you to Jenny.
Yeah.
Thank you for being so honest and so open to this conversation. We definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, it was all love.
For sure. So, great time. Tune in next week for episode 17. We're going to talk about some fun things. And going forward, we're also going to keep trying to get other guests and keep trying to keep it interesting for you guys. So
there's a wait list, guys. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, get on the wait list. Talk to our manager, Sean.
Yeah, he's got to reach out, through social media or all the other networks, and I'll reach out to you.
Yeah, for sure. So, again, thanks for joining us for a good episode. Jenny, thank you for joining us and for being so open again to talk about everything. So
thanks for having me on the Great People Podcast and cut.